Okay, good evening. I need a motion to go into closed session pursuant to NCGS 143131 for the consideration of bids, pursuant to NCGS 143-318.10 and 11 to review minutes from prior closed session meeting minutes, prevent the disclosure of privileged personnel information pursuant to Chapter 115C, Article 21A of the North Carolina General Statutes, and pursuant to NCGS 143-318.11A3 to consult with an attorney in order to preserve the attorney-client privilege between the attorney and the public body, which privilege is hereby acknowledged.
So moved.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Welcome, everyone, to the June 2017 Board of Education meeting. We have a very, very full house tonight at Sun Valley High School, so welcome and thank you for being here. I would like to call this meeting to order, and we will begin with the invocation.
Almighty, we gather to make decisions for our schools. May we use only our best skills and judgment, keeping ourselves impartial and neutral as we consider the merits and pitfalls of each matter that is placed before us, and always act in accordance with what is best for our community, our children, and our fellow citizens. Amen.
Amen.
And we will have the Pledge of Allegiance. I would invite Cadet Jake McGraw to join us.
Good evening. If we could have you please rise for the presentation of the colors and our national anthem.
Color guard. Hudson. Hut. Harry. Colors. Hut. Forward. March. To the left. March. Color guard. Hold. Present. Colors.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You may take your seats.
To the left. Harry. Colors. Cut. To the left. March. Forward. March.
Okay. Okie dokie.
Normally have a photographer.
Thank you so much.
Okay, Board, we are ready to do approval of the agenda.
Madam Chairman, I would like to remove two things from the consent agenda, items G and I.
Madam Chairman, I also have two additions to the agenda. I would like to add, at the pleasure of the board, whatever location, an item entitled UCPS Fiscal Year 2017 to 18 Budget Request, and also an item to add Rayview surplus land.
Okay, board, what we are going to do is after number 14, after we receive the facilities committee update, we're going to have item G, followed by item I from consent. Then we'll have the Ray View surplus update, and then we will have budget, and then we will pick up at policies, okay? So we'll take all of those after number 14. Does that sound good?
So that would be 14A, B, and C accordingly after item 14. I'll make a motion to approve the agenda as amended.
I need a second.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. We will have the John H. Crowder Service Award at this time. Mrs. Sturdivant. Board members, please come around to the front, please.
Each month, we recognize a high school student with the John H. Crowder Service Award for community service. This award is a living tribute to the John H. Crowder, who spent more than 30 years serving the children of Union County. In order to receive this award, the student must not only be academically successful, but must have a history of community service. Tonight, we award the John H. Crowder Service Award to a very special young man. Can we please have Shane Stout please come forward? How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Are you ready? All right. Shane contributes to his high school and community in various ways. With the Boy Scouts of America, he helped collect 825 pair of shoes and more than $2,000 to benefit the Gethsemane Garden Christian Award, a boarding school in Kenya for orphans. He has also participated in countless other service projects with the Boy Scouts, including placing flags on soldiers' graves in honor of Memorial Day, with assisting with several Eagle Scout projects. Thank you. In addition to volunteering at the Special Olympics, Navant Health Presbyterian Medical Center, Samaritan's Feet, Sun Valley Elementary School, as well as the greeter at the VA Hospital in Charlotte, Shane is also a member of Carmel Baptist Church, where he serves as Sunday school leader for 4th grade children. Thank you. During the past 3 years, he has also hosted the Joy Prom, a gala event for special needs adults sponsored by Carmel Baptist. Thank you. Sun Valley High School is pleased to nominate Shane for his prestigious award because he has gone above and beyond the call of duty to his school and community. Thank you. The Board of Education is very proud to recognize Shane as the June recipient of the John H. Crowder Service Award. Congratulations, Shane.
The Union County Public Schools Employee of the Month Award recognizes employees in non-teaching, non-certified positions. It was created to honor those who have worked exemplary work and performance, those who promote positive morale, or possibly those who demonstrate initiatives and creativity that improve the operating efficiency of their department or the district. Individuals can be nominated based on their performance, their customer service, or an individual incident that merits commendation. Our June recipient is Myra Hartman, kindergarten teacher assistant at Newtown Elementary School. Newtown Elementary School Principal Kathy Perry will now come forward to introduce our recipient.
Good evening. Myra Hartman is the kind of educator who fits perfectly into an elementary school. She exudes positivity and has a helpful demeanor as well as a calm, nurturing approach. She helps the classroom teachers foster a positive learning environment and builds strong rapport with students and their parents. She works one-on-one and in small groups with students to reteach and remediate learning needs, as well as tie shoes and clean up those boo-boos. She remains an asset to the kindergarten team at Newtown, as well as the school as a whole. When helping out each morning in the car rider line, Myra wears costumes and holds signs to promote school-wide events or special days. Parents regularly comment that they can't wait to see what she's come up with the next morning. Newtown is a stellar school because of employees just like Myra Hartman. I will now read the Employee of the Month proclamation from the Board of Education and Dr. Houlihan. Whereas the Union County Board of Education values the hard work of each employee within the district. Whereas performance is an essential part of district operations. Whereas Myra Hartman exemplifies the performance, dedication, and teamwork essential to the success of the district and its students. Now, therefore, we, the Board of Education for Union County Public Schools and Dr. Andrew Houlihan, Superintendent, hereby proclaim Myra Hartman as the Employee of the Month for the month of June 2017. Congratulations.
Good evening, board members and Dr. Houlihan. When I say that excellence and recognition continues, that is not an understatement. We continue excellence and recognition this evening with a number of staff and students we'd like to recognize. When I call your name, please come forward and allow the school board to congratulate you for your accomplishments. First, we are honored to recognize the outstanding individuals who recently received the top awards for the Union County Association of Education Office Professionals. The winners were named during the 39th Annual Union County EOP Administrator Banquet on May the 16th. First, I'd like to recognize the 2016-17 EOP Professional of the Year, Ms. Vernell O'Leary, UCPS Office Assistant. Ms. O'Leary is the Office Assistant to the Director of Human Resources for Support Services. Vernell was recognized for demonstrating creativity, constantly thinking of ways to affirm and support team members and her supervisor, as well as being a team member who supports an extraordinary balance of skill and compassion. Over the years, she has helped the local EOP chapter with projects, fundraisers, and banquets to ensure that all events are appropriately organized. Congratulations, Ms. O'Leary. We are also honored to recognize the 2016-17 Administrator of the Year, Ms. Lisa Gibson, the Union County Public Schools Director of Academically and Intellectually Gifted, as well as federal programs. Ms. Yes, let's give her a hand. Ms. Gibson was recognized for always encouraging staff to grow professionally and personally, as well as demonstrating exceptional leadership in Union County Public Schools professional work setting. She also brings forth solutions for complex issues and demonstrates elements of optimal teamwork. Additionally, Ms. Gibson was praised for being a great communicator with all stakeholders, a problem solver, and someone who demonstrates high standards of character and interpersonal skills. Congratulations, Ms. Gibson. The Union County Public Schools Teacher Assistant of the Year honors an outstanding teacher assistant who is not only dedicated to the students, but also works tirelessly to assist the teachers in a variety of ways in the classroom. I am honored to recognize the Teacher Assistant of the Year, Ms. Carolyn Marsh. Ms. Marsh, if you'll come forward. Ms. Marsh is a teacher assistant at East Elementary School. She was selected for this award because of her hard work, determination, and passion for both her job and students, as well as her pride she takes in every task she has been assigned. Congratulations, Ms. Marsh. The 6th Annual Blumenthal Performing Arts High School Musical Theater Awards were held on Sunday, May 21st. The awards, known as the Bloomies, are like the Tony Awards for high school theater. Tonight, I would like to recognize our own musical theater students at Central Academy of Technology and Arts, who won in 2 categories during the awards gala. I'd like to ask CATA instructor, Mr. Larry Robinson, who I'd like to personally commend and recognize for his tireless dedication to the CATA students every year, to come forward and recognize these outstanding students. While Mr. Robinson comes forward, this afternoon, we received notification from the Tony Awards. If you know the Tony Awards, which are offered by the Broadway Theater Wing, the Broadway League, and Carnegie Mellon University, Mr. Robinson was nominated as an outstanding theater teacher nationally. He was in competition. Although he did not receive the award itself, he received honorable mention. His name will be presented on the Tony broadcast, as well as in the Tony program. So this just came in, but we are so proud of Mr. Robinson.
We're very honored to have a young man who was a senior this year at CATA, Justin Rivers, who last year, and as Coalhouse Walker in our production of Ragtime, won Best Actor this year, and the title role of Sweeney Todd was again named Best Actor with the Bloomies. He will go later this month to New York City to appear on the Minskoff stage on Broadway in the National High School Musical Theater Awards, and also known as the Jimmys, where he will compete for the finalist for Best Actor. So we're very proud of him. Our band students were also named as the best orchestra on the Bloomies, and we were very proud of them because this was the whole orchestra was composed entirely of students playing music from Sweeney Todd. I'm going to introduce my cohorts, Marty Gregory, our music director, and Craig Retzloff, our band director, who will then introduce our students.
Good evening. Let's introduce James Striska. Jamie Nikonowitz. Lisa Ince. Qasim Elamin. Diana Latera. Will Recker. Alex Leigh Calvert. Keely Ray. Austin Blevins. Garrison Batchelor. Matthew Warren. JT McDonald. Jack Holliday. Ben Gunderson. And Chris Jeffcoat.
Also in the area of our arts programming, I'd like to also recognize the students who were selected to perform with the North Carolina All-State Band. Will the following students please come forward as I call your name? Alexander Lay Calvert with CATA, who played in the 9th, 10th grade band. Jane Nagus with Weddington Middle School, who played on the 7th, 8th grade band. Megan Zane with Marvin Ridge High School, who played on the 11th and 12th grade band. And the following Cuthbertson High School band members, Emma Brock and John Turpin, who both played in the 11th, 12th grade band, as well as Sarah Alston and Trevor Dew, who both played with the 9th and 10th grade band. Let's give these students a hand. For our last academic award, I'd like to recognize Parkwood Middle School students who have placed among the top in the nation in the National Social Studies League competition. Again, placed in the nation. Will the instructor please come forward to recognize your students?
My name is Daniel Stanford. I teach 8th grade social studies at Parkwood Middle School. And my group of students took the National Social Studies League exam a couple weeks ago, and we scored first in the nation with a score of out of 500, we scored a 489 out of 500. And I had two students, Ethan Smith and Isaac Salinas, who scored perfect scores on the test, the only two in the United States. So here are my students, Ethan Smith, Isaac Salinas, Ethan Davis, Caleb Asher Roales, Trent Williford, Austin Burns, Jay Little, Braylon Batson, Caleb Duarte, Ethan Kozlowski, Courtney Lyles, Elizabeth Paxton, and Christopher Wynn.
And board members, while we were recognizing all state bands, Alexander Lay Calvert had just come through with CATA, so he's just making his rotation. So I want to ask him to come forward and be recognized for all state band as well. Alexander Lay Calvert with CATA. Also from Parkwood Middle School, the science team placed also first in the nation with a score of 458 out of 500. Again, 458 out of 500. And in that team, Dean Svedberg tied for the highest overall score with a perfect 50. I'll ask him to come forward at this time.
Hi, I'm Jordan Mamar. I'm one of the coaches for the Parkwood team. Dean couldn't be here today, but I would like to introduce you to some of the members of the team. First, we have Patrick McCann, Callie Scott, Braden Hayward, and Cadence Carter.
We also had a few other members who participated on the team, but they weren't able to make it this evening. That would be Elijah Funderburk, Damian Axley, Cruz Apodaca, Kyle Weston, and Annalini. Yes, Annalini. That's right. Thank you.
We are honored to recognize a number of athletes tonight who have gone on to become state champions. To perform a sport better than anyone else in the state is quite an accomplishment. First, we have the Marvin Ridge High School golf champions. We would like to recognize the Marvin Ridge golf team for winning the 3A Men's Golf State Championship. Coach Albert Webster will come forward and recognize his individual team's members.
Thank you very much. And so let me introduce our golf team. This is Zach Swanson, our team captain. And this is Zach Pardall. And Will Fry. And Tyler Haynes. And Connor Targonsky. And Joe O'Callahan. And Jack Otterson. And we would also like to recognize our state champion track. This is in women's shot put. It is Cameron Henderson.
Nice job, Marvin Ridge High School. I would now like to call Weddington High School coach Eric Gunderson to the podium to recognize his state champions.
Thanks. Winning our first state championship in men's lacrosse with a record of 19-1. We've got a couple of assistant coaches with us and a handful of players. A lot of our guys are off at their club teams. So we've got Coach Jason Dinwiddie and John Klisch with us. And then Patrick Burke, Cole Dinwiddie, Bryce Cheek, Zach Dinwiddie, Preston Jones.
Next, will Coach Kathy Hyatt please come forward and recognize her state champions.
Thank you, board. This is our state championship team from Weddington High School varsity tennis, first time in the school's history that we won the state championship, 3A. We also have several first individual champions. We have state runners-up in the doubles. They had to play their teammates for the championship. It was really, really incredible. We have Grant Kimner and Henry Hatt, and they're the runners-up. And the state champions, William Hatt and Logan Trimp. And then members of the dual team, state championship team, Nick Spera and Ben Jewell, Paul Jennis, and Tyler Guglielmo. Thank you.
Next, will Coach Powell Williams please come to recognize his state champions.
Thanks. And this is the Weddington High School Girls State Championship team. They're second in a row, so congratulations to them. Kaylee Van Gundy. Nicole Cavalier. Haley Sandeman. Morgan Messia. Lauren Lee. Remy Roberts. And Maggie Miller.
Will Coach Rick Spencer please come forward and recognize his state champions?
Hi, I'm Rick Spencer, and I'm the coach for the boys and girls track team at Weddington High School, and our boys came in first place in the 3A state meet, and I'm here to recognize those athletes. Doug Draken, Emerson Dowds, Kyle Durham, Carson Glatz, Dennison Livingston, Kyle Henson, Will Mazer, Stephen Larson, Mark Connor, And we also had a girl who came in first place in the wheelchair 100, 200, 400, and 800, and just tried out for the National Paralympics team. And that's Lizzie Becker.
Who are you? Are you Matt Riggins? Yes. Okay, sorry. Missed it. I'd like to call Parkwood High School coach Matt Riggins forward to recognize his school's state champion.
Well, and also recognition goes, we really got two head coaches to coach John Tillman as well. But the 2A state champion in the pole vault, Natanya Lenoris.
I'd like to recognize Forest Hills coach Harold Crowder to come forward and recognize his state champions.
We won the 4x1 relay. Jadis Davis, Jaleel McLaughlin, Scott McClendon, and Elijah Gaddy.
Now I'd like to have coaches Dustin Allen and Nathan Hahn to come forward to recognize their school's state champions.
We won the state championship in the 4x4. The boys are Braden Black, Justin Crawley, Nathan Johnson, and our sprints coach, Elliot Lightfoot.
Wow, congratulations to all the coaches and athletes. I'd also like to note that the Parkwood softball team recently won a state championship this past weekend. The team will be recognized at a board meeting during the fall. Dr. Houlihan, Board of Education, this concludes our recognitions for tonight.
Okay, board, that was a lot of recognitions, a lot of state champions with us tonight. That brings us to school innovations with Dr. Poole.
Good evening. My name is Dr. Sean Poole, principal at Sun Valley High School. I'd like to welcome the Union County Public Schools Board of Education, Dr. Houlihan, along with cabinet staff to Sun Valley High School. Tonight, we have a very special presentation for you from Sun Valley High School's Aviation Academy and Architecture, Engineering, and Design Academy. A simple overview of each of the programs will provide understanding as our instructors, Mr. Bill Vivian and Mr. Eddie Mull, are future aviators and engineers, bring the curriculum to life. Architecture, Engineering, and Design. The Architecture, Engineering, and Design Academy gives students the basics of architectural drafting by challenging them with technology and classroom-based curriculum that promotes the use of critical thinking and computer technology skills. Students will learn to use industrial drafting tools and instruments used by architects and engineers. Computer-assisted drawing, CAD, will be used by the students to learn how to make construction drawings. Aviation Academy. The Aviation Academy will expose students to various aspects of aviation, from avionics to aerospace engineering, through instruction that is project-oriented and has a student focus. The avionics program will offer electronic labs, aircraft visits, and projects. State-of-the-art electronics training equipment will be utilized for this program. Avionics systems are an integral part of aircraft design and have vastly increased aircraft capability. The aerospace engineering program will allow students to explore the designing, building, testing, and analyzing science behind the forces and physical properties of planes, rockets, and unmanned vehicles. At this time, I would like to turn the presentation over to Mr. Vivian, Mr. Maul, and our future aviators and engineers. Thank you.
Welcome, everybody, to Sun Valley High School. My name is Eddie Mull. I'm the drafting teacher here at Sun Valley. I'd like to highlight two of our academies tonight. We're going to focus on our Aviation Academy for avionics, aviation, and aerospace, as well as our Architecture and Engineering Academy, and what makes our academies here at Sun Valley High School unique. So I'm going to take the first minute of our presentation to try to describe what makes ours a little bit different. We're going to breeze right past that. Because these are some of the things that we try to focus on to make our program unique and different. I don't have the time to go through each of them, but what I'd like to do is focus on a couple that make our program stand out. One of them is the fact that we made history this week. We have some students that not only achieved user-level software certification, their industry professional standard, which approximately 25% of all high school students achieve that credential. Ours achieved that, but we had two that became professional level certified. The significance of that is that it had never been done before in any high school ever in North Carolina. So we have those two students with us tonight. I'll introduce them in a minute. But since I only have a minute, I'm going to go off script really, really quick, show you how amazing these two guys are, these three young men are. Angel, if I ask you if you could design, 3D print, build, and program a robot, could you do it? All right. Tyler, if I asked you to build a 3D model of a house, export it from Revit into virtual reality and do a walkthrough, could you do it? Cool. All right. Marco, in a minute, we're going to get you to describe the aerospace project that you have. But that gives you an idea of how amazing these students are. And lastly, let's see. That's our classroom. That's our 3D printers. I have one more thing. Oh, the certifications. There are 6 CAD programs in Union County, 6 schools that teach CAD. So you would think that we would have between 10 or 12% of the credential responsibility for Union County, right? Last year, Sun Valley High School accounted for almost 40% of AutoCAD certifications in Union County. So that gives you an idea of how amazing our students are. So now what I'd like to do is I'd like to introduce one of our students. Angel, would you like to go first? Tell us a little bit, 1 minute, about yourself and how the program worked for you. Okay, go ahead.
Before taking drafting classes, I had no idea what I wanted to do with my life. And through these classes, I was able to find out that I really loved architecture and wanted to pursue a career in it. And through this program, I was able to get certifications. And now employers are contacting me about a part-time job opportunity. So I am going to get a part-time job in the architecture industry. I also plan on going to UNC Charlotte and majoring in architecture to become an architect.
So did you catch the part where employers are starting to contact Angel? That's awesome. All right, Tyler, would you give us 1 minute?
My name is Tyler Rice, and my freshman year, I wasn't really doing anything. And when I went to Sun Valley my sophomore year, I found out that I really like designing things. And by the end of, I think, my drafting 1 class, I designed a 3D model of the school and printed on my first 3D printer and made the new school blueprint maps, whatever they are. But In drafting 2, I got user certified and also started to work for people doing vector art and making money on the side using AutoCAD. And in drafting 3, I made a full Revit model of the school that was virtual reality capable that you could walk through. And I got professional certified in AutoCAD. And I wouldn't trade any of it for going to any other school in any other CAD program.
Okay. Yeah.
All right. Hello, I'm Marco Nordstrand, representing Mr. Vivian on Aerospace 2 Honors Class, and this will be our PowerPoint with me and my team, Alex and John, and including me. We will work to accomplish an RC plane. Our goal was to create an RC plane that would be able to 30 minutes of flying and take 20 minutes of flying while airborne. As you see right there, that's Alex and we're dragging our plane on the whiteboard. Plan. We started our project by planning the entire design of the plane. We were going with an RC sail plane, which is the first plane in the road. The longest one in history was 11 hours without no motor. And as you see, that's me drafting the fuselage over there, and these are other drafts with our wings and of the tail. All right. Once we finished the drafting idea phase, we started the execution phase so we could actually design our plane. See, we started with marking our styrofoam and finding a center of gravity so we can get the basic shape of the fuselage, and so we ensure that our plane can fly. Second part we did is we created control surfaces using servos. We also ensured that the remote was working, and we used receiver. This is our big wing we used. It was part of the other projects that we did. The first one, we used an airfoil, and what we did, we used a laser cutter using AutoCAD software, computer assisted design, and we laser cutted it. They're called ribs, and we put it onto spars. As you see, they're all lined up over there. We had to put paper on it, and we used Monocoat, and we had to use a heat gun and put it on. Final plane specs. Final weight was 650 grams or 1.4 pounds. Plane size was 17 inches or 34 inches. Wing size was 34 inches by 8 inches by 1 inch tall. And we use a Rimfire 400 engine, 10-inch diameter prop. You see Tyler's over there demonstrating our plane. And we used a 22,000 LiPo battery with 1.11 volts in. That's most of the specs. And that's our final plane over there. As you see, the propeller's off and it's resting over there. The battery wasn't plugged in, and that was actually after our second testing. And as you see in that picture over there, that's me holding the plane, Sean to my left, to my right in the picture, Alex to my left in the picture. We had 2 flight tests. The first one was very short and it flew a little high, but eventually wipe out. Also, if you notice in the picture, there's no duct tape on the plane. We had some, yes, technical difficulties. Keyword. The second flight, we didn't have enough throttle. With communication error there, but we believe went along fine-ish.
Pre-flight check. Which is
Ailerons.
Control surface.
And Mr. Vivian, the video's not showing.
Rudder. Let me see the rudder.
Yes.
Rudder. Let me see the rudder. Okay.
Mr. Vivian.
Elevator. Okay. Okay. And hang on to it. I want to see the throttle. Full throttle. Hold on to it. You got that full? Okay. Okay. It sounds like it's dragged. Pre-flight check.
You might have to pause it. Yeah. All right. Next slide. This is our time allocation during the project, the sixth project. Most of the time was research and planning, so we can make a successful plane and so create enough lift, as we didn't want a small wing or it to crash while motor burned out or something along that lines. Creating the plane was also a tedious process as we wanted the correct dimensions. And testing was very short as we actually spent more time redesigning the plane so it can withstand testing. This is the end. Any questions or conclusions? If not, I'll bring Mr. Vivian up the stage.
Oh, I'm sorry, broadcasting live. Aviation Academy makes up two different things. One is avionics, which avionics is the actual repair of equipment on an actual airplane. And so they learn about soldering, about OSHA safety techniques and all those other things. And then they get into the aerospace side of things where we actually learn how to fly airplanes. We actually have flight simulators in our room right over here where they actually have 10 of them that I'm very proud to say that we have here at Sun Valley, to be able to utilize the ability to do takeoffs, to do landings, to bank left and right, to understand all the different compromise of what an airplane is, what they call a six-pack, which is your altitude, your altimeter, and all those other things. So it's a very good thing for the students. They wind up learning about things like rockets and the thrust of what it takes, and when it gets to the top, that it's not actually called the maximum altitude, it's actually called apogee, and they start to learn things like that. Beyond that, they learn how to use and make their own airfoils. That's what he was talking about, where they learn spars and vertical and horizontal type things to keep a airplane actually aloft based on the fact that it's got more surface area. So that's why they made the big wing, which they called it. They're the only team that did it like that. The other teams actually, there was 3 total teams, and their team did it with an airfoil. The other ones did it with styrofoam, which is fine too. It just makes it a little more difficult. One of the projects in Aerospace One is they learn how to make glider planes and what the difference is and how to make it stay aloft the longest and the farthest, which is an outstanding thing that I'm really proud of these guys to do. When they finally get to Aerospace 3, they actually get into making the blades for remote controlled helicopters, and then they get into drones and how to program drones to go to GPS points, like what they're doing today with delivering packages in the city of New York. So it's a really good thing that they're learning skills and techniques today that are actually current and that will help them in their future. And I'm really proud of them at what they do. And so if there's any questions, I'd be happy to answer them. But I didn't introduce myself. Who he did. I'm Bill Vivian. I'm the aerospace teacher here. Anything? Anybody? Okay, thank you so much. Thank you.
Okay, that brings us to public comments, and we have one signed up tonight. 30 minutes has been allotted for public comments. Community members wishing to speak during public comments should state their name, address, phone numbers prior to making other comments. The board will not hear in open session complaints about the performance of school personnel, personnel issues, or confidential student issues. Individuals may address the board for a maximum of 3 minutes. Any person who is appointed as a representative for a group may address the board for 5 minutes. Should a community member wish to seek information or share items that may not be shared during public comments, our staff are available to address your concerns or provide information. Our deputy and assistant superintendents will stand as I introduce them. Dr. David Clark, Deputy Superintendent of Human Resources, and Dr. John Jones, Assistant Superintendent of Teaching and Learning. And we will have the Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated speak.
Good evening, Madam Chair, board members, school faculty and staff, parents, students, and concerned community members. My name is Dr. Melita Pope Mitchell, and I am the president of the Union County Alumni Chapter of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. Our chapter address is P.O. Box 2095, Indian Trail, North Carolina, 28079. Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated is a public service sorority founded over 104 years ago with current membership over 300,000 women around the world. Union County Alumni Chapter was chartered here in Union County in 2011 and consists of nearly 80 women across the county. Our calendar year corresponds with the traditional school year from September to June annually. We are presenting parts of our social action agenda for 2017-18 in anticipation that the Union County Public Schools welcomes the opportunity to partner with us on initiatives that are meaningful, relevant, and impactful for its constituents. Union County Alumni Chapter will sponsor a panel discussion to address issues surrounding the discipline, prosecution, restorative justice, and incarceration practices that impact our youth. A part of the program will also be a volunteer fair where organizations who offer programming in support of youth can connect with citizens in the community who are seeking opportunities to volunteer. Our goal is to bring awareness and solutions to the forefront for consideration by stakeholders, including parents, students, teachers, administrators, legislators, law enforcement, and all citizens. According to the National Human Trafficking Hotline, North Carolina is number 10 among states in the number of human trafficking reports. North Carolina House Bill 910, Human Trafficking, Resistance, and Rescue, would set up a pilot program to develop educational materials about recognizing and avoiding trafficking for 6th, 8th, and 10th graders. It would also include training for law enforcement officers and school personnel on telltale signs that a person is engaged in trafficking or a victim of it. The Union County Alumni Chapter of Delta Sigma Theta will present a forum where representatives from law enforcement, social services, schools, the agricultural community, human trafficking support groups, and survivors and their families can come together to learn, discuss solutions, and plan next steps that can address this issue in our county and our state. The Union County Alumni Chapter will organize a community event to allow interested citizens to participate in one-on-one dialogue with elected representatives from local municipalities, county, and state. The event is designed to provide real interpersonal discourse for the purpose of finding common ground and providing pathways to move forward for legislators and citizens. We encourage the Union County Board of Education and the Union County Public Schools to partner with us on these purposeful events to provide the much needed audience and perspective of the board and of our public schools. We also welcome the opportunity to discuss other alliances that will prove fruitful in serving the Union County community. Before I leave, I also want to acknowledge Monroe High School and the Union County Public Schools for partnering with us on our event No Longer Hidden, which brought Dr. Christine Mandarden, Monroe's very own hidden figure, back home to talk about her expertise from Nassau and her knowledge around sonic boom. So thank you, Dr. Houlihan and Monroe High School for supporting us in that event. Thank you.
Okay, we need the approval of open session meeting minutes for April and May.
Madam Chair, I have I don't know if anyone has anything for April, but I have comments for May. Under the activity bus replacement, it says the motion passed 6-3 with Kathy Heinzel, Dennis Rape, and Christina Helms opposing. It was actually Matt Helms.
Are you referring to May 2nd or May 5th?
May 2nd.
Okay.
Right. And also, it was Matt. And also, wrong Helms. Also, I guess, I don't know, it says Mr. Basin confirmed the purchase is subject to county approval. I don't know if we want to specify it's actually reprogramming. It wasn't repurposing a different pot of fund is what it was actually.
It was only for the $150,000 that we were asking them to move out of GPS capital into this.
Okay, thank you very much. Anyone else? April 6th or April 17th?
Motion to
Okay,
approve with the changes.
Okay. Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, the consent agenda.
Make a motion, we approve the consent agenda as amended.
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
And that brings us to the superintendent's report.
Thank you, Madam Chair. First of all, to Dr. Poole and the team at Sun Valley High School, thank you all for hosting this evening. We appreciate all the support and logistics that you've put in to get the library open and ready. Also, a number of our school resource officers are here in the back. Thank you all for your commitment to our school system and for all you do to keep our kids safe and our staff safe every day. We have 3 days of school left. And I know this is kind of a crazy time in the school year. Everyone is anticipating the last day of school, and this weekend will be prompting a lot of high school graduations. This has been an absolutely fantastic school year. Our school system has achieved a tremendous amount of accomplishments. I sincerely want to congratulate the class of 2017. I've met a lot of students this year through our Superintendent's Advisory Council and other forums, and I am extremely proud of our kids and of their achievements and their accomplishments this school year. I had the privilege of attending the Union County Early College graduation a few weeks ago. I plan to attend a few more with board members and community members this weekend and next week. I will say that as of Friday, our 4-year scholarship total offered to the class of 2017 is a little over $122 million. That is up from last year. Last year's total offered reported in June was $113 million. So we're up, and though that information is still coming in daily as we speak. So congratulations. Our year-round schools finish school on June 2nd. Our traditional schools will end this Friday. And I especially want to say to our principals, teachers, staff, employees, thank you. Thank you for your hard work, for your commitment to our children and to our families, and for a wonderful, wonderful school year. Earlier in our meeting, we honored our recent state champions. Did you know that since 2010, Union County Public Schools has had 49 state championships? That is the most of any county system in the state, I believe. This year, we had 32 teams finish first, second, or third in the state, which is the most historical athletic accomplishments in 1 year's history that we know of in this county. I want to give a big, big shout out to a guy who was here earlier. He might have slipped out. I don't know how many miles he puts on his car every year, but Doug Jones is our county athletic director, and he is all over the state and the county. He's extremely visible. I'd say I tweeted this out last weekend. He's the best AD in North Carolina by far. And we want to say a big thank you to Doug Jones for your leadership and for all that you do. One of the things that does concern me, it always concerns me about the summer, is a thing called the summer slide, where students might not be working academically over the summer. I get it. We want a vacation, have a little fun, but we also want to encourage our children to get active in academics as well. The state of North Carolina will be piloting a free access to a digital platform called Myon. We have been using Myon in this county in 24 schools as a pilot. All 30 elementary schools will have access to Myon, every kid in grades K through 5 over the summer. And so to our parents of elementary students, please encourage you to make contact with your teacher or your principal by the end of this week. Flyers are starting to go home with username and information. It's a great way to stay connected over the summer. I'd like to give a year-end report on transportation. Mr. Watson is here if the board has any questions. We have completed all of our required state reports and submitted that to the state. As you heard earlier this year, our DPI state inspection scores have really dramatically improved this year to years past. Mr. Watson formed the Transportation Advisory Board, which is a collective group of employees, principals, et cetera, to really look at guidelines and transportation aspects that we can improve upon. We've realigned our pay schedule for performance and attendance as part of our budget submission. We've piloted a bi-monthly pay implementation for our bus drivers for next year, and we're actively recruiting. We have 14 bus driver vacancies. The state has made some changes that I will admit are a bit of a barrier on the quickly response rate that we can get to approve folks, but we are actively recruiting drivers for next year. Finally, I'd like to welcome some new members to our team. Mr. Mark Strickland is here this evening. He is our Assistant Superintendent for Administration. So welcome, Mark, to the team. Sitting behind him is Dave Burnett, our new Director of Facilities. We want to welcome you, Dave, to the team. Also want to welcome officially our new Chief Financial Officer, Dennis Covington, is in the back. Welcome, Dennis. And a bit of a bittersweet, unless we have to have another board meeting, which may be the case. I'm not going to get to that. This may be Dr. David Clark's last board meeting with us, and he's hiding somewhere. After 29 years in public education, Dr. Clark will be retiring from the state of North Carolina in the next few weeks, and I'll just say, I said this in a central office meeting, I'll say it to the publicly. Dave, as I've transitioned in, Dave has been one of the most genuine, welcoming people I've ever met. As your head of HR, you kind of expect that. You don't always get that because a lot of HR folks are very compliance directed, and that's what their focus is. Dave is a people person, and he's all about Union County Public Schools and making sure that our employees are supported and have what they need. So Dave, I want to say thank you for your tenure, and thank you for all you've done for our great school system. Board members, that concludes my report.
Can I ask a question about your report? This year, I think we started doing something new in transportation. Things have been going home to the students across the county asking about their transportation needs for next school year. Is that something that we implemented this year? I've never seen it before.
Yes, ma'am. The process that we currently use is when parents come in and sign their kids up for transportation, they fill out a transportation request form, and that's faxed over to the bus garage. And so what we're trying to do for next year is to extract all that information out of Power School so that we no longer receive fax copies, and we get a quicker turnaround on getting kids assigned to buses.
We think it'll improve our response rate and our efficiency. It's kind of an internal way that we've got the technology. We've just been relying on an outdated system for doing that in terms of using a fax machine. So I think
it's a great idea. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, that brings us to the Facilities Committee update.
The Facilities Committee's been busy. Most of the information that we've been up to is on the consent agenda with respect to multiple bids on ADA and chillers and a bunch of other stuff. I wanted to remind the community that on June 27th, which I believe is a Tuesday, there will be a public forum at CATA beginning at 6 p.m. With Dr. McKibben and Matt Cropper with respect to the student realignment process. It will be an informative meeting just to talk about exactly what the process is going to be for the coming 8 or 9 months. And on Wednesday, the 28th at 6 p.m. as well, at the PDC will be the first meeting of the Citizens Advisory Committee with respect to the student realignment. So those are some great meetings that we hope people can attend if they would like to. Thanks.
Could you go over the times of those meetings again?
They're both at 6 p.m.
Right.
The first meeting on the 27th is at CATA, and that's a public forum, but it's really just an informational meeting. There will be public forums further on in the process. And on the 28th is the Citizens Advisory Committee first meeting at the PDC at 6 p.m.
Thank you, Kathy.
And they will both be on YouTube as well. Or well, no, only the Citizens Advisory Committee meeting will be, correct? I believe so. Yes, at the PDC.
Yes, at the PDC.
Yep.
Thank you for that update. That brings us to the New Salem Elementary School sewer bids.
I had some questions if Mr. McManus could come forward. This came through our facilities department or committee last week. I did some more research on it, and I was just concerned about the size of system we're putting in. Mr. McManus, I believe you said we're putting in a system that'll handle 7,250 gallons a day.
I believe that's correct, sir.
All right, I checked with Union County Water, and we're putting in a system that will cover about 4 times the use of what New Salem's kicking out. And unless we've got some expansion going on at that area, I didn't know why we went. This system was almost, 900 and something thousand?
That's correct, sir.
I know it's always good to go a little oversized, but I didn't know if we couldn't save some money at least by going with a smaller system.
I don't have the information in front of me, so don't hold me to this number, but it was my recollection. We tried to size it to approximately 600 students and staff, 600 something. I may be off a little bit, but that's where we were on it. We hired the engineering firm who does this for a living, and they're the ones who size the system and permit it through the state of North Carolina.
Well, I got the water usage from Union County Public Schools from 2003 through the 19th of May. And it's about 4 times bigger than what we need.
Okay, I don't have that information, so I can't comment.
Right, I'll submit it to the chairman. And I'm just saying, to try to be prudent with the taxpayers' money, we're spending almost $1 million there. And it just seemed like a bit of overkill to me.
Understood. Please keep in mind too, though, the original budget on the project, which is published, was 1.5 million, and we're well underneath that budget, including land purchase.
I know, but I don't subscribe to if we got it, spend it.
Understood.
Is it your recommendation that we put in the sewer supply so that it is as big as what he's talking about? Was that the recommendation? It was, correct?
Correct, per the engineer and in North Carolina water quality approval.
But I don't understand why the engineer didn't go after the usage, the actual amount that's going out there, and try to size the system.
I do know they took that into calculations because we provided that information for them.
Well, usually I'm a licensed applicator, and usually 50% overkill is all the state makes you require.
Understood. I'm not an engineer. I don't know all the legalities of it, but they're the professionals, and that's the stamp that's on it. So that's what got submitted to the state, and that's what we bid, and we're recommending it to the board.
Are there any other questions or comments?
I have a question on that issue, but it may be more up Michelle's alley. Was I understanding that there was a potential for a lawsuit by nearby residents because of the system? Is there anything that's impeding the progress of us moving forward on this project?
There is a eminent domain action, but that's all there is that I'm aware
I'm not talking about canceling the project. I'm talking about the size of what we're putting in, unless we're expecting a lot of growth at New Salem Elementary.
I will let the board know that this comes from the Facilities Committee. 3-1 was the vote. And I will entertain a
I'm
motion.
through with my discussion.
I will entertain a motion.
Motion to approve.
Since it comes from Facilities, we do not need a second. So all those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Okay, thank you. Okay, next we have the Sun Valley High School bond design.
Good evening. My name is Shana Hetherington with Little, and I have with me Dave Powlin, who runs our land development studio at Little. And we're here to kind of update you on, oh, here it is, the presentation that we gave to the Facilities Committee last week. Does everyone have a copy of this, or do I need to pass it around? Because I apologize, it's a little small on the screen. What we presented last week was a accumulation of a lot of hard work from a lot of people. We had a visioning session that included administration, teachers, faculty, students, parents, to really talk about some of the needs and wants and desires of Sun Valley. That was held over several different meetings that lasted hours, and we heard from everyone. We talked about in that visioning session kind of what are some of the goals and desires of the changes here at Sun Valley. As you can see up here, some of those reflected on flexibility, pride, safety, and I really can't see that far, so we'll leave that. And inviting, and some of those are the topics that came out of these vision sessions. From there, as you can see, there's a huge host of people that was part of this PAT. We had a sticky note kind of exercise that allowed people to voice opinions without feeling like they couldn't or they shouldn't because their boss was potentially in the room. And so we got everything out quickly and discussed it. Students were very involved, which was really exciting. And we came up with this vision statement. I can't read the vision statement from here, but the premise behind this is that although I may be an architect, this isn't my school. This is their school. This is your school. We were just there to listen and use our experience to really kind of put together what we were being told, what we heard. We had these discover sessions where they actually got on the paper and pen and drew kind of some of the things that they were envisioning and seeing and the possibilities of what could happen here. And then they presented those ideas. We took those ideas back and really kind of put them together to bring to you what we're going to discuss today. Everyone is excited. One of the themes that really came out is they want the school to reflect some of the great things that are going on here. They have great pride in their school, but they feel like the facilities don't really truly reflect who they are and what their capabilities are. That said, listening to the drafting kind of group today, I visit a lot of high schools, and I have to tell you, what you have here is phenomenal. You don't see that at other high schools. You really don't. And in fact, after this next step, we're going to put them to work and have them help us on some of these. So from that point, we had some interview sessions where we met with a variety of different groups individually and talked about some of their needs and wants. And then we moved on to the site. So as you can see, this is the current site. We're in the media center. And currently you have student drop-off happening over here, but your main entrance is over here. We know some of the road expansions are coming, and we know as a result of that, that's going to take up some of the existing drop-off visitor area. We know that there are some site improvements that need to be done, and Dave is going to speak to that in just a moment. Do you want to talk about that, and then I'll come back to the schools?
Sure.
Yeah. So the site plan that was voted on by the facilities committee to move forward with was the site plan that's on the screen now. So what you'll notice is the biggest change is the reorientation and relocation of the primary stadium so that it now has the correct solar orientation. So that right now the home team gets to stare into the sun during those late afternoon games. So this will take care of that. In its place, we will put a new bus loop that will have a separate drive off of Wesley Chapel Stouts Road down here, so that we are now separating all the student drivers and the parent drop-off from the bus area. The movement of the stadium to the center of the site also allows us to consolidate restroom facilities and concession stands that can not only be used at the stadium, but can also be used with baseball and softball. So that helps us cut down on the number of those facilities that we'll need to design. And we will also include 2 new practice fields. One is striped for soccer, but they're basically practice fields that can be used for all the sports. And then the new stadium will also include an 8-lane track. Currently, there's only a 6-lane track at the school, which prevents them from hosting any kind of regional or state meets. So the new track will be 8 lanes that will allow them to host all those regional and state events.
Some of the changes that you'll see on the site in regard to the building is we're looking at 2 additions. The biggest being here that you see, which will be the new entry, the new face, new administration to the school. The thought is with the expansion of the road here and really kind of impeding into that parking area and bringing traffic close to the main entry. And the fact that everything that we heard is people want an entry that reflects who they are, that's inviting, that's bright, that's welcoming. It was the decision of the committee, of the PAT, to relocate entry here. There are several reasons for that. One is as visitors come in, as students come in, and everyone parks in this area where the current entry is, you can't really see what's going on. So on a safety standpoint, relocating the entry gives visibility to the parking area. It gives visibility to the field area. It allows, as the community comes and uses the fields, to see the main entry, and it creates one secure entry for people coming and going. Currently, students park here, and they kind of trickle through and in between buildings to get to classes. This would create one centralized area for safety. The second is due to the need to expand the kitchen and the cafeteria. Maybe it'd be easier to see it here. Okay. Expansion here, there would be a new cafeteria, new classrooms as part of the bond, and renovation of an arts area for the theater location as well. Are there any questions?
Yes, I have some questions. So you're saying the cafeteria and kitchen will be moved to the new building along Stouts Road?
Correct.
How will the existing cafeteria and kitchen be repurposed?
The existing cafeteria and kitchen, due to its high volume, will be renovated for the theater, a theater classroom, which is currently in a traditional classroom, which really doesn't work for the program, and also a choral room, which currently there is not one. They share with the band. So the idea is that we're creating in the existing cafeteria kitchen area kind of this arts component adjacent to the auditorium, which will also allow us to build new restrooms to service the auditorium as well.
And it looks like the, taking into account expansion of the Stouts Road, in plant option A and B, it looks like the new building is getting very close, right on the edge of the line you have here for future setback. Are we okay on our clearance?
Yes, we are. It's within all of the setbacks, and we've accounted for the need for service to the kitchen as well and screening from that road.
And you've been in communications with NCDOT to confirm these setbacks and timetables and exactly where they're going to take, correct? Because I have personal experience in my office. They tell you one thing and then all of a sudden they come out and they put the stakes and they're a little bit closer to your building than you were told.
We have had multiple meetings with NCDOT and also the town of Indian Trail. So the future right-of-way line is what is set by NCDOT. The future setback line is set by the town of Indian Trail. So yes, we have taken into account all of those. We have had multiple meetings. As Shana mentioned, we're aware of the studies that are currently going on along the corridor and the possible planned expansion of Wesley Chapel Stouts, as well as the improvements that are in the planning stages right now for Old Charlotte Highway.
Excellent. I look at plan option A, which continues the existing site of the football stadium, which frankly doesn't seem like it's a real option at all. If the state's going to come in and take the land and force us at some point to move that anyway, why would we even want to consider option A?
So basically the facilities committee voted to move forward with option B.
The whole board voted to move forward with having them assess whether or not that we could leave the stadium where it was sited right now.
So in your opinion, is it a worthwhile option?
No, option A for leaving the stadium where it is really confines us to keeping it as a 6-lane track and limits what we can do really with the stadium in the improvements area.
That's good enough for me.
And Mr. Sides, the facilities committee, when we met, we voted 4-0 for option B. So that's what we're, presenting to the full board is option B.
Right. And we talked, just so the other board members understand, in option B, if you look at the site plan, not the one that's up there, but there's still discussion about whether or not where the bus lot would gain access to the access road that goes behind the school and meets up with Shiloh and Sun Valley and gets out to Rogers Road. Right now, the plan that they have shows it going behind Sun Valley Middle School, but we're not really sure that's an option or not, considering that Sun Valley Middle School just put a walking track right there. And the current road isn't paved. So that's all still in discussion. One of the things that's been brought up to me is with respect to the softball field and the baseball field and where this plan doesn't show where the bathrooms and concessions and things will be because Title IX you have to take into account. Correct. You already got that.
Right. So the plan that you see before you again is a conceptual plan. We actually still have another meeting tomorrow with the whole team here at the school to work out some of these further issues so that we're taking all of those things into account. We understand that there are some additional issues to be worked out, one of those being the location of the tennis courts and then also the location of the concession stands and the loop road.
That's another issue. Right now at Sun Valley High School, there's 4 tennis courts and they're situated opposite of the way you see them on there. So there's 4 along, but they wouldn't be able to add 2 to it. So this would require shifting them to get 6 on it if they could. If not, the discussion has been over by Sun Valley Middle School. We have 2 tennis courts. They could add something on over there. Something else that needs to be mentioned and for this to move forward eventually is we need to go to the county commissioners and get them to agree to move the dump that is currently in between Sun Valley Middle School and Sun Valley High School.
Madam Chairman, I make a motion that we follow the recommendations of the Facilities Committee and adopt site plan option B for Sun Valley High School.
And there's, did we have any more questions? Okay. Oh, yes, the spreadsheets.
No, actually not on the spreadsheets, but I'm not noticing anything with the baseball fields. Is there any kind of, I just see 2 locker rooms. Is there any expansion for any kind of like club room or locker room for the baseball fields?
So what's in the plan right now is to completely redo the field itself on the inside from the fencing in, basically, and to redo the lighting and scoreboards. What we're talking about when we say the concession stands and the locker rooms and so forth, all of those are still, we're looking at a location for a possible field house so we can get all those groups together, but put it in one location so all the teams can use it and we don't have to have multiple throughout the site.
Okay.
And if you notice on the spreadsheets that are in there for everybody, we talked about this at the Facilities Committee, the difference between leaving the stadium where it is, even though that would be extremely difficult, and moving it is about $150,000 difference.
Correct.
So. And it's, as Gary pointed out earlier, it's a little bit impossible to leave it where it is. It doesn't, the motion that Gary made doesn't need a second, as this came out of Facilities 4-0.
Okay, any more questions or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Thank you for your presentation. Okay, now we are at this review surplus.
I would like to offer the item of the Rayview surplus land that we would like to discuss where we stand on disposing of or sell of the property, and that Michelle, if you'd like to update on where that stands.
Sure. As you know, you have an appraisal that was done by Rob Morrison that indicates that the value of land that you will lose by selling that property is $72,500. You've received an offer from Mr. Bob Beatty Jr. In the amount of $48,000, which is the value of an appraisal that Mr. Rob Morrison did for him. So you've got 2 different appraisal values by the same appraiser, and an offer for him to purchase it at $48,000.
I'll make a motion that we reject the offer and only accept an offer of the original appraised value.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, and that brings us to the 2017-18 budget request.
Madam Chairman or Dr. Houlihan, I will yield to you on this subject, other to say that it has been requested by the Board of County Commissioners for us to revisit the capital budget and determine the feasibility of delaying from our capital budget projects totaling some $3 million, not cutting, not eliminating, but delaying into the next fiscal year projects totaling that amount. And I would like to offer for consideration, if the pleases the board, that the Facilities Committee hold a special meeting to determine the feasibility and selection of projects that could or may be delayed in accordance with the commissioner's wishes. And if either of you have anything to add to that.
I just have a quick question. I didn't see anything that said that the $3 million, that the money that they're asking for has to come out of solely capital. Is that, I didn't see that.
That was my understanding. I'd have to go back and look at all the documents, but everything that I've heard and received, and I watched 2/3 of the meeting last night. I haven't watched all of it, but they mentioned capital.
And if we could all get the letter that was forwarded today for the full board, that'd be great.
I don't see the capital in the letter, that's all.
Okay, so I have a motion to send this to facilities. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, all those in favor of sending this back to facilities?
Aye.
All those opposed? Okay, thank you.
So just to make a comment, so two things. Number one, we'll work directly, Mr. Strickland will work directly with Ms. Heintel as chair of the facilities committee to schedule this for this week or next. Depending on the outcomes of that committee, I would say that there may be the need to have a finance committee as well, depending on what happens with facilities. So our deadline is by Monday, June 19th. If this board is going to take any action, that gives us the rest of this week and next. So this is going to be pretty fast paced.
We'll try to get a meeting on the books as soon as the meeting ends. We'll talk about it. Thanks.
Okay, now we are ready for policies for review.
Good evening again. You have one policy for review this evening. It's policy 4-3, currently entitled Code of Student Conduct, which is recommending that the policy committee has recommended a change of that name to Student Discipline. If you all have any questions about the draft policy. Okay.
Michelle, was this, just to refresh my memory, was this coming from state, just an annual refresh of our policies? Where did this
No.
recommendation come from?
This is a recommendation from staff. Now, it was revised last in March of 2016, so it's not part of your regular review. This is an attempt to streamline the process and clarify the Code of Student Conduct versus the Student Discipline Policy, and separate one into administrative guidelines and one into policy.
When I first came here, we talked about this issue, and I noticed that we have a situation where your implementation, which is your Code of Student Conduct, is lumped as your policy. And most systems in the United States, they separate the two, where you have a board policy on student discipline that gives oversight and direction, and then your Code of Student Conduct is what principals, teachers, et cetera, implement as a result of policy. So we're trying to make it cleaner. The second piece of this is there are aspects of our Code of Student Conduct that I'm very much interested in changing and reviewing. We are going to take a whole year next year to form some different subcommittees of principals, teachers, parents to really look at the issue around student discipline, bullying, et cetera, and make sure that as a system, this time next year, if there's a policy change on the discipline aspect, we're in position to really address that for the future. But this is purely designed to separate policy from implementation.
Thank you. And next we'll have policies for approval.
Yes, you have a policy before you entitled Operation of School Nutrition Services. I would let you know that it does not have a number, a chapter and section number yet per se, because we're trying to find out where it best fits. It will probably fall under chapter 2. Doesn't seem to fit anywhere else. And so this policy is required by the federal government, and it has to be in place by July 1st, which is why it's before you for approval tonight. It did come before you for review back in April, and it's been to the policy committee prior to that and subsequent to that. Any proposed changes or recommendations that I received between the last board meeting and today are in blue font, and they are on page 2 of 3 and 3 of 3. And those were from Denise Lamar, your Director of School Nutrition Services, excuse me. And although Mr. Strickland was not officially on board at the time, he was gracious enough to, when we first brought this to you, for me to send it to him and say, hey, give me your thoughts. And so he was gracious enough to say, hey, that's pretty good. So that's where we are. So it is before you for approval tonight.
And it comes from policy, so we do not need a second.
Correct.
So all those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Thank you.
Thank you.
And that brings us to closed session decisions.
Do we?
I move that we approve the personnel agenda from closed session.
Second.
Is that okay?
Second.
Do you want to amend it?
As amended,
Oh,
that's
as
right, as
amended.
amended,
Yes.
sorry, as amended.
There's one additional item that needs to be amended. I found out at 6:40 tonight of a change. One of our, I'm not going to get into names because that's closed session, but a position that we were going to offer to an external candidate, he has backed out. And so there will be one individual of a director level in central services that we will need to strike through. I found that out at 6:41 this evening, and I will come back to the board with a different recommendation.
I second.
Okay, thank you. I have a motion and a second. All those in favor? All those opposed? Okay, thank you. Okay, board comments.
Madam Chair, I would like to offer my personal condolences to my friend and colleague, Ms. Heintel, on the sudden loss of her father, and hope you and your family will be of healing, and we are sorry for your loss. I would also like to, on a happier note, those of finished EOGs and finishing up, if you haven't finished up already, finals, I wish you good luck. To thank all of our teachers and staff for a successful year, and wish you a enjoyable and safe summer vacation.
I'd like to thank Sun Valley High School, Dr. Poole, and all the APs. Thank you very much for a wonderful evening. And it was an apropos place to be to approve the design phase of the renovations to Sun Valley High School. I think all of us on the board are super excited about it, and my daughter especially, since she'll be here next year. So thank you for a great evening for hosting.
Dr. Poole, I'd like to say thank you again. Dinner was great, and the hospitality. I also want to say, Dr. Houlihan, so it's June, and a year ago in June, this board was we were kind of on the light side, and we had to make a hire, and like almost all of us had never done it before. None of us had ever done it before, and we kind of went in not knowing, and I've said it before that our boards had some unanimous decisions like things, but this one, hiring you, was one of the best things that I think I've done. At least after these 4 years, I can say a couple things, and being part of hiring you, and you have proven that you were to the task, and you've done everything you said you were going to do and more. And so I just want to thank you. I know that a lot of times when your phone rings, there's a lot of problems and a lot of questions, but I just wanted to take the opportunity to say thank you for taking a chance on us, and for doing everything you've done. So thank you. And also, Kathy, to my friend, I want to say thank you for being here tonight, even though I know, I know that you're committed and you're dedicated, and I just want to express condolences from my family to you and to the Mezzle family, and we'll be in spirit with you on Saturday. I wish I could be there, but I can't. So we love you, and thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
That's it.
Dr. Poole, Sun Valley High School, all of your staff, The aviation program, the engineering and design presentation tonight was just wonderful. And it is so great to be at Sun Valley High School because it's been a topic of discussion. Many of us at this table have been to the county to fight for this bond. And we're thankful to be here tonight, to walk through the halls and to see what needs to be changed and improved for this community and for this student body. Just speaking for this board, we are very excited about the plans that were presented tonight by the architects. And as a College of Architecture alumni from UNC Charlotte, it was very exciting that your students are looking at UNC Charlotte. So that I'm just extremely proud of what your students are doing here. The aviation, the engineering, the architecture, the teachers that spoke and were standing shoulder to shoulder with those young students tonight was extremely impressive. And when we've been all over this county, I just continue to be blown away by what we see at these presentations with our principals and the students. And tonight was A+. Thank you for dinner. And, the 9 of us go through a lot together. Hiring superintendents. But Kathy, I just want to, as a friend and a colleague, we're just thankful to have you here tonight. We're shocked that you're here with us considering everything that you and your family have been through this week. But we so appreciate your dedication to Union County Public Schools and the decisions we have to make, and for being here with us for these important decisions. And our thoughts and prayers will be with your entire family, your mother and your brother on Saturday. So, and on a happier note, I will say for the board, we are going to take the month of July off. No way. So there will not be a board meeting the month of July. That will give all of our staff, our employees, everyone an opportunity to not have to worry about a 4th of July board meeting. And so just, please, everyone, we worked so hard 12 months out of the year. No matter what the kids are doing on summer break, we continue to work hard 12 months out of the year. So please enjoy the month of July. We do not plan to have any committee meetings, but given the budget challenges, we may have to call a facilities or a finance. So we'll just make that announcement if and when it arrives. But, the goal is not to have any meetings, but if we have to, we will call a committee meeting to resolve those budget issues before when they're due. So with that being said, those are all of my comments for tonight. Thank you so much, Sun Valley.
Dr. Poole, thank you for opening up the school and being hospital. Everything's great. I was very impressed. I always try to remember where I came from, and I want to address Mr. Zizik. I worked with him, and he was an administrator over me when I taught, and he is one of the finest people I ever worked for. I think you're lucky to have him. I know he's lucky to have you as a supervisor, but he was a great friend to a teacher when I worked to him. And I know it's hard to believe, but they called him Little Zizik back then because his daddy makes him look real small. But I always enjoy seeing Mr. Zizik. But I'm really impressed with what's going on here, and it looked great. Thank you very much. And we will also need to announce we will have a curriculum meeting June the 15th at 8:30 a.m. and it will be at Central Services. And if any of the committee members have anything they want me to get to Dr. Jones, or you can send it straight to Dr. Jones to go on the agenda, I would be welcoming you to send it to either one of us. Thank you.
I wanted to also thank Dr. Poole. Thank you for sharing with us all the great things that are going on here at Sun Valley. Thank you to the Facilities Committee for putting together a great presentation on the layout here at Sun Valley and the site plan. It's very impressive seeing what's gonna occur here. Also, Dr. Clark, I wanted to personally thank you for all your leadership and guidance that you've given to me as a new board member and kind of helping us get the SPIT committee up and running. I really appreciate your guidance on that. So thank you very much.
Okay. I'm going to echo everybody else. Dr. Poole, thank you so much. I loved the aviation portion of the evening. I have a son that is interested in aviation, so you may or may not see him. Hopefully you will. So thank you so much. It was very informative. It gave me as a mother a little bit of more insight to what you do here, and it's very, very impressive to say the least. To Dr. Clark, in your words, I got to bookend your career. I was a student of Dr. Clark's just a few years ago. And now when he stop it. I was still young then. So I got to see him start and I get to see him off. And thank you so much. It's been a unique pleasure knowing you in different roles as a teacher and as a colleague now. And I really appreciate all that you've done for UCPS. And I look forward to seeing all your travel posts of all of your research on your family. It's always interesting to see. So thank you for all that you've done. I'd also like to congratulate 2017 class. As y'all move forward, we expect big things from y'all. Please be safe. Unfortunately, we have a tendency to get a little careless during this time of year, especially new drivers. My son just got his license, so I'm a mother of a new driver, and it makes me incredibly nervous this time of year. Please, please, please make good choices. I wish everyone a good evening. Thank you.
Dr. Poole, thank you. And Kathy, my thoughts and prayers are with you and your family.
Dr. Poole, thank you for having us tonight. I know it's not easy pulling this together last week of school. I really appreciate that. To all the students that will be out of school on Friday, have a safe summer. And to the class of 2017, congratulations. We wish you well. And again, thank you.
Before we close, I just want to thank the Delta Sigma Theta for being with us again. It is wonderful to see your participation and your interest in Union County Public Schools. So thank you for being with us again tonight. And I am not going to adjourn until I say, Dr. Clark, we wish you so much joy and happiness on your next chapter. And I can't thank you enough for all of the support you have given this board, this new superintendent. You have really shined over the last, I have had the privilege of working with you for the last 2.5 years, but I have really, I really hate to see you go because I have seen you really shine over the last few months in assisting this new board and this new superintendent. And I cannot thank you enough for the extra effort you have helped in getting all these new committees in place, this new cabinet in place, and the boatloads of interviews that you have helped facilitate. You have helped put together a phenomenal team here at UCPS, and I hope we make you proud. So thank you. Okay.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those approve?